We're going to be hopping into the topics here. Jordan isn't with us, obviously, so what we're going to be doing is Dom and I are going to have our individual topics, and then we're going to be doing some questions that I got through Twitter and Facebook. But my first topic here I want to talk about is so we were talking about the Amiibos earlier, that they announced those 4 new Amiibos. I currently don't own any Amiibos. Do you, Dom? I don't think you do. Do you?
Nope.
So the thing is like I love the Amiibos. I like the idea of them. They seem like they're very high quality. They're very nice. I think they're priced fairly well. I think they're a little on the expensive side. That makes sense though, supply and demand. But I just wanted to talk about so we were having a funny discussion in our chat earlier of you want to get the Ocarina of Time one, but you're afraid you're gonna fall into a hole. That's kind of where I'm at too. I like Funko Pops as well, but I'm if I buy, obviously I know I have self control, but if you buy one, it's kind of like the beginning of the end. It's well, I have I buy the Hulk Funko Pop. Well, I like Hulk. Well, what other superheroes do I like? So then I buy that one. Well, then if I have him, I have to have this one. And then if I have this one, I have to have this one. But then on the opposite argument of it, with Disney Infinity closing down recently, their figures were pretty well done too. I think Amiibo has the strongest chance out of any Toys to Life, They have some of the most solid IP. So it's just I just want to have a discussion about Amiibo and your thoughts. And by the way, the Ocarina of Time one looks super cool. They always design their Amiibos to represent the game they're from very well. The Wind Waker ones read Wind Waker. The Ocarina of Time one reads Ocarina of Time. I think they do a very good job on that. And I think there's a lot of R&D that goes into that. So what are your opinions on Amiibo?
Yeah, so like you said, I really do want that Ocarina of Time one. And I know that I'd buy it. And one, I'd be torn on whether or not to take it out of the packaging, because the packaging is really beautiful too.
Well, that's why you buy 2. You buy one to take out and one to keep. Yeah,
exactly. There's another problem I didn't even think of.
Yep.
So yeah, I buy the one, and then I say, this thing is cool. I want to get the rest of the Zelda Amiibos, because there's 5 or 6 more after that one.
Yep.
And then I have all those, and then I have 6 Amiibos taking up some space I have to find a shelf for them. And then, I have the rest of the shelf that's kind of empty. And I'm like, oh, well, I really like Mario, or I really like Yoshi, and that Yoshi Yarn Amiibo looks cool. So I grab one of those. And then I have 6 Zelda Amiibos and 1 Mario. Now, that doesn't make any sense. Then you got to complete it. You got to fill it out. And then basically you end up having a debt collector knocking on your door, but your door won't open because your house is so full of Amiibos blocking the entrance.
It looks it looks like a trophy room for Smash Brothers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I envision it going for me, because I certainly have the funds to buy some Amiibos, but it could get out of hand very quickly.
Yeah. And
I'm afraid that I would just go off a cliff with these things, and then at the end of the day, a year or 2 from now, when I have if I had a shit ton of them, I would eventually kind of be like, oh, well, they're there.
Yeah. The one thing we're not talking about, though, is they have some of the best functionality of a lot of Toys to Life. So Disney Infinity, as far as I understand, I could be completely off base about this, but the Disney Infinity figures only worked with Disney Infinity, right? The thing with the Amiibos is that they work... there's Amiibos that came out with Smash Brothers that are working with the newer versions of those games. So they aren't just sitting there necessarily, because a lot of the Amiibos that came out with the first set are working on new games that weren't around when that came out. So you are getting basically repurposed things, right? The old Zelda Amiibos for Smash and other games are going to work on Breath of the Wild, so there's more functionality there. And I think that lends itself very well because they do have longevity, as opposed to these other Toys to Life that eventually do just become toys. Nintendo has figured out a way to repurpose them over and over again, which is different than a lot of other Toys to Life. I like the Amiibo products. There's not too many that I would definitely want to own. I definitely want a King Day-to-Day, and I want a Bowser. I like those 2 a lot. They're very nice figures. But I'm with you of I don't know if I want to buy one, because then I might want another one, and then I might want another one, and then I might want another one. What would be... I guess Ocarina of Time is the closest one. I was going to ask you, what would be the must-buy Amiibo if they came out with one? What would be the number one that you would buy over anything else? Would buy it.
It's that Ocarina of Time one. I like it a lot. It's just basically adult Link playing as Ocarina. I would have liked a little bit better, and maybe this already exists, one of him pulling the Master Sword kind of out of the...
that would be cool.
Whatever you call it, the rock, the stone that it's kept in or whatever. That would be really cool. But, that's up to them, I guess. They're creating these and designing these. they're making, they have people doing this all day and figuring out what's going to be appealing to me. So like sit back and see what they can make, and whatever is beautiful, I guess.
The interesting thing is they haven't gone full dive with the Pokemon. They could have easily ran away with Pokemon Amiibo.
Yeah.
The one I would buy over everything is Arcanine. It's my favorite Pokemon of all time. I love Arcanine to death. So if they made an Arcanine Amiibo, I'd buy it 100% day one. I'm surprised they haven't opened the floodgates. They will at some point. They might start a Pokemon line of Amiibo where at first it's all of the Gen 1 and they come out in sets of like 10, and then that starts a whole thing with people because that's insane. So
I'm really curious because you brought up, the toys, like the actual functionality of the Amiibo.
Yeah.
And comparing it to Disney Infinity and that sort of thing. I'd be really curious to see the sales numbers for Amiibos because I think it's pretty obvious they're selling like crazy for the most part.
And use
some more than others.
I'm assuming, and like the use metrics.
Exactly. So the sales compared to how many people are actually using them in games. Nintendo may or may not have those numbers, but that'd be cool to see because in my head I don't picture very many people actually using the Amiibos in a game.
Yeah.
I don't see it the same as Disney Infinity where there's younger kids like, oh, I need to have this figure so I can do this in the game. I don't see the same thing happening for Nintendo like that.
The thing that Disney
it's kind of
Infinity
something you might use it in your game because you already have it.
Exactly.
You didn't buy it for the game, I guess. But
well, yeah, and the thing too on top of that is in Disney Infinity, the only way you can play as that character is if you have the figure. In Nintendo,
it's more integral.
It just adds stuff to the game. Whereas in Disney Infinity, you need to buy the Spider-Man Disney Infinity figure to play as Spider-Man or that version of Spider-Man. So nothing too much to say. I didn't want to go too long. This is kind of a short topic, but So do you think you're gonna buy the Ocarina of Time Amiibo?
Yeah.
If you're gonna be honest with yourself, I figured you would. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna. If they sell it on Amazon, then I'm definitely gonna.